I think a barrier that we saw and we could continue to experience is around just like finances and funding. I want to be really real and honest. Like, I don't have any generational wealth to rely on. I don't have any kind of family member that I could say, hey, can you support me with X, Y, and Z? That's not a thing. This is it, right? So for us, when we were thinking through our plan for finances and all of these components, and I was just talking to Kelly about this, that brought a lot of anxiety for me. Not only because I've had my work permit since 2014. So like, I have not built the type of credit that other citizens in this country have been able to do when you're undocumented, because you don't have a social, you're not able to work, right? All these things. So all these like kind of things that come up with finances and stability give me a lot of anxiety. And I actually worked through that with my Camelback coach. And then also I connected with someone who was in a similar position as me and connected with her about, she was also an immigrant, also a young woman of color. Her name is Milagros. She started Rise Colorado. And so we connected, and she's really been like my mentor and my guide, and just having conversations on how she managed that space. So I think reaching out to people who you feel comfortable with and who will also elevate you and empower you. I know we've been talking a lot about funding and kind of seeking funding, but I think that's just on top of our minds, or at least my mind, constantly as a startup. But I think one, theme that I constantly see when we're having conversations with folks is when they are funding organizations, in particular startups, they're looking at like one particular bucket, right? So they're looking at education, immigration, social justice. And when you're doing work that's intertwined, like our work is immigration and education. So if I go to an education space, they want the metrics. They want how many percentage of them are gonna pass the state test. And I'm telling them, I can't count the amount of undocumented students that we're serving because it's illegal, right? So like, that's where I'm working from, right? And then also seeing that our ultimate goal is not, like, we would hope that the work that we're doing is to elevate student experiences, their power, and their access to resources, but it's not so that they can pass a standardized test. That's not the work that we're doing. There's other organizations that are doing that, and that's wonderful, but that's not our work, right? So I think what I would love to see is shifting it more towards an interconnection. When we talk a lot about intersectionality, like our students, especially in the education space, don't just come in and want to take a test. From my experience working as a teacher, that was not what I saw at all, ever. And their immigration status doesn't leave them, their identity doesn't leave them when they come into the classroom. So why have we not thought about intersectional ways to invest in organizations and not just in buckets? So that's what I would like to see moving forward.